Pretty good. Pretty about yours.
Because we're not spending
On your
money.
what?
We had a
How about
crazy
yours?
old lawnmower that
Thank
was kind
you.
of out of
Oh.
control.
Thanks for
We just
checking.
got a
I
new,
go fishing in August.
electric, rechargeable lawnmower.
Oh,
That's
really?
very modern and new, so you should be able to not chop
So you
his
don't
foot
have to
off.
use a cord with it or
No,
anything?
no, it charges.
You don't
I didn't
travel
know
as
that
much
this
as
was
our
the new style. But
mutual
I
friend.
guess I've been
No,
out of it.
not at all.
But that's the new.
They're the
electric
experts.
Charges.
Three trips in the last 2
I think you
months.
can get like
Big
2
time.
or 3.
Yeah.
We have a small.
Like Geneva.
All right, all right. Okay, it's still about time yet. We've been chatting away over here.
Did you guys see that notice in the
6:58.
packet
Okay.
that the Salty Fig has a
Oh, yeah.
new...
You're gonna report on it today, yeah.
I'm very excited about that. In fact, I should ask him.
Nicole, would you mind passing the water
Yeah,
or
sure. Do you
ale?
want me to pour you a cup?
Oh, would you mind?
Yeah,
I'd
no
love
problem.
that, thank you.
It's
At least
gonna
you
be-
used to be.
Gonna be more.
I always, my mouth is dry during the meeting.
Dean
so-
Georgelos?
No, no, I think the ballpark.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's details.
Here we go.
thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
I'm okay. Cutting down.
Okay.
Their hours are gonna be.
Cutting back on water, huh? It's not good for
That was
you.
to say you shouldn't.
You gotta watch this.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't.
You got your stuff down. I got my stuff down. I'm gonna go first.
Walt's got some people with him.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Walt has some people with him. I don't know if they're
Should I use second?
It's
board
knowing
members
Yeah.
or...
who your
Yep.
audience
Yep.
is, knowing who your
Sitting out?
customers are.
Did I not notice
customer
that? Yes, we
base.
are. We are absolutely.
Yeah, right, you
Oh.
do. And something more than Devontae and Hillgrove, you know, and
Dennis, yeah.
Not quite, Dan. Think we have to wait.
Yes, we do.
Always, yeah.
Hurry
In
up.
anticipation.
Thought that maybe the Dax was tiny.
That's right.
Itchy gavel.
Huh.
Yes. All right, it's 7 o'clock. Everybody set?
Yep.
ready?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this village board meeting. In order to honor our heroes, especially the men and women in uniform who serve and protect our community, please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Clerk Horvath, may we have the roll call, please?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Chen,
Here.
Trustee Fink,
Here.
Trustee John,
Here.
Trustee Rudolph,
Here.
Trustee Sifferman,
Here.
Trustee Terrell,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. Having read the agenda, does any trustee have an addition or deletion to tonight's agenda? No, moving on, we'll go right into the citizen comment portion of our meeting. This is when people have an opportunity to speak to the board. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'll go to the consideration of our agenda items. This is where our committees give their reports on activities that have occurred over the course of the month. Moving first to Properties and Rec Committee, Trustee Chen.
Okay, thanks. During our Properties and Recreation Committee meeting, we discussed the following items that are evidenced in our packet. The capital summary reports. The first item was the historic tower front door replacement. We discussed that RFP documents were expected to be published the first week of July. And Trustee Tyrell and I were briefed on that project and got up to speed as new members of that committee. The East Train Platform construction, as per your packet, you see that there are several punch list items that are outstanding. As of the date of our committee meeting, the contractor was unresponsive to the punch list items. So the next step was for the village to request a meeting with IDOT to arbitrate those punch list items. I don't know if there's any update on that we want to go over, or how that works today. Nothing updated on that? Okay. And then the last piece in our capital summary report in our committee was the Wolf Road bike path to the Forest Preserve. We were briefed again on this project and got up to speed, and the effort is in its really early stages right now. There's a lot of different parties that are involved and are going to be consulted with on this project. And as I understand, the main party that the village is waiting on right now is the Forest Preserve. And we understand that this project is probably not going to move forward until 2020. I don't know if there's other expectations around that, so.
There were, but they were dashed.
We did actually receive some progress this morning. This morning, the Forest Preserve did provide to us the letter of concurrence.
Oh, they did?
Got that. So I haven't had a chance to go through that yet. So that one specific item on our list of about 4 outstanding items has been resolved. So some of that will be going back to IDOT for follow-up now that we got that Forest Preserve.
Aren't we also waiting for something from IDOT on this? Or-
Yes, so as part of our Phase 1 report submittal to them, there's comments that have been going back and forth. We have all of our comments back into them. They're actually waiting for a response from one of their own internal departments for some language and clarification regarding some of the design as it relates to the road adjacent at the intersection near Ogden and Wolf.
Thank you.
Okay, and then the last item that we discussed in our committee meeting was the 2019 bridge inspection proposal. And so the village owns and maintains 2 bridges in town. There are 2 bridges that connect Forest Hills and the Commonwealth, and they span Flag Creek. We learned that the village is required to inspect those bridges every 4 years. They received a proposal from Bruges Engineering, and we learned that they're a registered engineer for us, for the village, and that we've used them in the past. And the proposal, is for $5,450 for the inspection of the bridges. And I think that will be an item in our next meeting.
So we'll put that on the omnibus.
Yes, yes.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, and that's it from our committee.
All right, thank you very much,
Thanks.
Trustee Chen.
I have a question about
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the punch list items.
Yes.
Are they still, is the contractor still awaiting final payment, or have we paid them and they haven't done it? Trustee?
There's not final payment. Because this contract was bid and it's let by IDOT holds the contract.
Okay.
There is outstanding payments going to the contractor and some of the subs. From our conversations with contractors, some of their lack of work is resulting because of the time lead that it takes for IDOT to pay out some of those pay items. So the landscaper specifically was kind of saying that he didn't want to proceed in any additional work until some of the IDOT work that he'd done previously was completely paid out. So normally, though, even if that were the case, whenever we do punch list items, we hold what's called retainage. Retainage is typically about 10% of the project cost. We hold that off as a reserve whenever we work through punch list items for this very current scenario. But that, we haven't even gotten to that point yet.
And in reading, I have read the list and I see the landscape, et cetera. Are most all of these cosmetic sorts of things? Do any of them cause any inconvenience to our residents right now?
Not really. The only kind of inconvenience item would be some of the what we call tactile strips or rumble strips where for ADA access. Right now that's basically grooved in with the concrete. That's not acceptable to ADA standards, so those are the major item that need to be replaced on the concrete list. It's not a trip hazard or any safety hazard in that way, but it just doesn't meet the standard in terms of final acceptance. So the rest of the stuff is largely cosmetic. We have landscaping items, some minor curb and concrete work that needs to be done, and other things along those lines.
So what is our recourse? We're just trying to get the
Well,
meeting.
right now, yeah, so because IDOT holds the contract, we don't hold the contract, we can't actually really charge liquidated damages as we would normally through a village-owned contract. So that's why we've requested a meeting with IDOT to basically kick that process off. So IDOT actually has to be the one who initiates that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good questions. We did chat about those in the committee, so thanks.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to Public Works and Water Committee. Trustee Fink?
The first item we spoke about is the Ridgewood Oaks Detention Basin. So that Phase 2 has essentially been completed, and we're looking for improvements have been made to the basin, but we need a way to attach it to the rest of the the drainage system. So a letter has been sent out to the homeowners association about how this is gonna get paid for. So we're just waiting on a response from the homeowners association for that.
Okay.
The next two are about the new well, so there's two parts. The first part is drilling the well, and the other part is connecting it to the water filtration plant. So what they're gonna do is, it's gonna be a 12-inch main that's gonna be brought along the south end. It's gonna be bored underneath the street on the south end of Hillgrove. So while that is happening, it should have started today. Did it start today?
Some work has started. They're beginning mobilization. So full-on construction didn't start today, but working days do begin getting charged starting today.
So I think the biggest inconvenience is some of the parking, the south of the park will be blocked off, and they're gonna block the roads periodically, because they're gonna have to bring the water to the south end of the street and then bring it back into the water filtration plant.
Yep.
And then drilling the well itself also became started today, and that is going to happen. It's going to be hopefully done September 17th. There'll still be pedestrian traffic that you can walk through it. You just can't access that part of the well. But occasionally they're going to be shutting down the streets during that drilling period, and that's going to happen until September.
Okay, thank you.
So the roadway, 2018 roadway program is essentially done, and now it's just watering the landscaping, which we hopefully don't have to do too much with all the rain. And then the 2019 roadway referendum, so that is gonna be two streets. It's gonna be Lawn and Clausen. And so what they're gonna do is they're gonna put in a sewer system, an 8-inch sewer, as well as cement the streets. And instead of working on both of them in tandem, what they're gonna do is they're gonna work on Lawn first, and when that's completed, then work on Clausen.
I think it's the other way
Other
around.
way
yeah.
Clausen, then Lawn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a water main. Are you replacing sewer too?
We,
Mary?
Oh, sorry.
we are doing spot repairs on the sewer, so
Okay.
leading up to the program, we do an inspection of the sewer system and then areas that need repair. But this particular project isn't having a complete sewer system install or replacement.
Okay, but the big infrastructure is the water main, replacing a 4-inch?
Yeah, it's 4 inches going to be replaced with an 8-inch water,
Okay,
and it's one of our IEPA projects.
In the 2019 resurfacing program, so I found we have two kinds of roads. We have the asphalt, and that is just going to be, they take off the top layer, and they're going to resurface that, and they're waiting on money from IDOT. So that it's going to happen this year. And the next one is the Clausen water main, the north branch. So there's a loan commitment letter that was received in May, and it's gonna start today. For that one?
Yeah, so they'll be mobilizing it through the next week or so. That's tied in with the road construction project. So minor contracting work, you'll probably see saw cutting and stuff mainly this week, and you'll probably see significant work happening.
And then, ooh. I lost my spot. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
So there is the standpipe repainting. Again, that is gonna happen, it's not gonna happen until fall. It's gonna take about 8 weeks to complete. And they're just picking fall because that's when there's gonna be less water demand on it. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna drain the system, and then start with the, start welding, and hopefully be done in 8 weeks. But it shouldn't impact citizens at all.
Well, we hope.
You're right, right. So we did the roadway program.
Yes. Yeah, you did all these.
and there's the West Suburban Mass Transit District, Phase 2. So what they're gonna be placing is, they're gonna put I think the bike racks are already in, and they're just putting the shelter over the top, and they're gonna
Correct.
be creating 2 electric charging stations that will be there.
That's correct.
And then there are, the sewer, what they're gonna do is they televise the sewers to look for damages in the sewers, and they're gonna focus this year on north part of Springdale, Fairview Estates, and Old Northtown. So what they're looking at is the storm sewers. And then with that is annually the smoke testing program, and so they put smoke in the sewer line just to see if there's any illegal hookups, to make sure that it's just no groundwater is kind of going into our sewer system. And then we would like to approve the Illinois Public Works Municipal and Network membership. So what it is, it's a bunch of nearby communities. You can borrow resources if you need, so you pay $100 into this system, and then if there's a tragedy, you can, floods, trees down, you can borrow resources to help support your town. First 5 days are free, which sounds fantastic, and after that, there is a responsibility to pay back for people for more than 5 days. So we're looking for approval to join that, since it's only a $100 cost.
Yeah, that seems like a really great program, and it's nice to work cooperatively with other municipalities, so.
All right, and the last thing, we'd like to use the motor fuel tax to purchase salt and sidewalk corrections for this next month.
Yes,
We need to create a motion for that, or
Yeah,
No.
we'll do a resolution too.
right. It'll be on the.
on the
we'll-
omnibus?
Yes, your committee approved it to go on the omnibus, and then we'll vote on it at the next meeting,
Okay.
okay? And that's something
Okay.
that happens just annually, and we, it's kind of one of these housekeeping items that we do.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you very much, trustee Fink. Moving on to planning and zoning, trustee John.
Thank you. So earlier this year in May, the board approved the streetscape plans for Foxford Station. The plans focused on Wolf Avenue and Burlington sides of the building. These plans have, and they've almost completed, especially those constructions. Tonight, we are. Or recently, the developer returned landscape plans for the south wall, which is along, I believe it's the Baptist Church, is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's a church behind it, yes. The south wall, the rear terrace space, which is similar to an elevated deck, and then the interior terrace, which is, really can only be seen by the units within, but units which do not face the Wolf, Burlington, or the south. So we did, and all of those design and those plans were included in the packets provided to the board at the end of last week. So looking to get any feedback on those, any questions from the board, if there's any.
We also have John McFarland, our developer, in the
Hi, John
audience
McFarland,
tonight,
welcome.
so if anyone has any questions of him, too.
So have you used some of those before, the artificial ones? Oh,
You can come up, John.
oh, sorry,
Can you come up to the,
sorry, it's just,
The microphone, then that's what televises, gets the voice across the wires.
no, I'm personally intrigued by them. They look interesting.
So there's a portion of the plan, the interior courtyard that trustee John mentioned, isn't really visible from anywhere outside of the building. There's an area there that some units face out looking at the ComEd substation, and we wanted to screen that. And there isn't really public access to that area, so we discovered this company
Yep.
And
Good.
I've talked to some people that have installed them, and they're very realistic and totally maintenance-free.
Mhm.
But that is the only area that we're using.
Gotcha.
artificial, just because there isn't access from
Okay.
maintenance and that.
Okay, sounds like a nice solution for that kind of
Yeah,
area.
yeah, I mean, we debated different things, and this seemed like the most logical after all things were considered.
Great.
John, how's the first floor coming along with your tenant? You're finding one, or?
Interesting enough, since I was before you the last time, we are negotiating with somebody right now on half the space.
Mm.
The,
Okay.
the westerly half, so it'd be the half toward Wolf Road.
Closer, okay.
Right, and it's an office use, but the easterly half of the commercial space is where the ventilation is. So there still is the opportunity for a restaurant on the easterly half, because that's where, the ventilation from the kitchen goes up to the roof on the east half of the space. I'm not saying what we're negotiating is a done deal yet, but the offer or the proposal that the entity made was, it wasn't any kind of lowball offer or anything. It's a legitimate proposal that we're seriously considering.
Good luck to you, it looks very nice.
Yes.
Just
I mean,
about.
We've gotten a little bit down on Wolf Road, we kept the plans
saw it.
and all that, but
Yeah.
those will be coming in the next few weeks. And then we'll be wrapping around Burlington and opening up Burlington here shortly.
Great. Yeah, so far it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it'll be real nice with the planters. The planters are, are the icing on the cake. really.
Okay.
And the plants that we have, the plan that we have along Wolf Road will be quite attractive with what's going in those planters. They're really good, really soft. So,
Okay, we're going to hold you to that.
yeah, so I think it'll be nice.
Thank you.
That's great.
So we would, the request is to add this to the omnibus, approval of these plans to the omnibus in the next meeting.
Okay.
And then moving on, so back in, so let me just, sorry, let me get to the right sections. So, back in, I believe in May, we did review the conditional use permit for the moving of the west tennis courts in Spring Rock Park to the new location based upon the tollway usage of those west courts and end of life. We did have a planning and zoning committee meeting recently, followed by a public hearing on June 27th. We did receive many positive comments from Western Springs citizens about the move. And I believe later in this meeting, there is a request for approval. Sorry, let me just move to this. Approving the amendment for conditional use permit.
Yes.
So that is going to be requested later in this meeting.
Great, thank you. Yeah, we don't want to hold up the Park District at all, and so we're expediting that, having gone through the process. I do want to thank all the residents who took the time to voice their support for the project, and I think it's a wonderful use of space, and I'm glad that the Park District doesn't have to pay for it too, so, mostly.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to finance. Trustee Rudolph?
Thank you, President Gallagher. Just calling for our next BOLI meeting, which will be in concert with our normal, not our normal, but our August combined workshop on August 19th. And then, any questions about that? Probably none, right?
It's that time of year.
It's that time of year. And then the Finance Committee has not yet met. We will be meeting later this month on July 25th. And that concludes my report, unless there are questions on that extensive report.
Thank you, Trustee Rudolph. Moving on to Public Health and Safety, Trustee Sifferman.
Madam President, there's no formal report this evening, as our committee has pushed our meeting to next month. But I do want to make mention of, note that I've seen in another rash of car burglaries in the village. Our village becomes more than just a site for crimes of opportunity. These are crimes of great opportunity that criminals are seeking the village and the lack of vigilance in locking our vehicles. And that certainly is well known, as it would appear, among the criminal community. And so just take this time to remind everybody again to be more vigilant in locking their cars and their belongings inside the cars, so that these criminals do not focus more on our community. So the police department is vigilant in responding to these calls, but also in adjusting its patrol functions to ensure that there's greater vigilance during the times when these events occur.
Yeah. Thank you, Trustee Sipperman. I don't think that can be said enough. You know, lock your cars. If you have valuables in the car, bring them inside. A lot of times people think, well, there's nothing in the car, but maybe there's a garage door opener, and then there's access to everything that's in the garage and potentially the house. So, you know, just a simple lock of the car would solve a lot of problems. So thank you for that reminder.
That concludes my report.
Thank you. Moving, yeah.
Sorry, just curious, the signage on Wolf with the flashing reminder of that, will that be there for a while? I think it's,
Yeah, we move that in different areas of town, so it'll be there a little longer. And then maybe we'll move to the north side.
Okay.
Where we feel it'll be effective.
okay, I think it's helpful, thank you.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to mention with regard to that too is if you have a home surveillance camera and there's a portion that captures activity on the street, if there has been a rash of burglaries on your street, please review it and see if you see anything suspicious, and if so, call the police department. I know our police are working hard to make sure that this isn't a ongoing repetitive happening in our village, but any help that they can get would be greatly appreciated. So, thank you. Thank you. Moving on to general government, Trustee Terrell.
Thank you, President Gallagher. I have three issues to discuss. The first is the motion to waive the bidding procedures and authorize and approve acquisition of a Windows Server 219 data center licenses. As it's in your packet, it says Windows Servers 2016. We have to amend that. It's 2019, is my understanding. We'll have that changed before we, I think we're going to vote on this tonight.
Yes.
Okay. What that is we have several computer servers for our data processing needs. We have upgrades coming to two major systems this year, Munis and New World. We will need to build a new server with the latest operating system supported, then install the upgraded software on the new server. The data is then transported to the new server from the old server, and then the old server can be deleted. Our current server cluster consists of 3 physical servers. They run Windows Server 216. There are 84 processing cores on the 3 servers. The cluster has 34 virtual servers. I've learned all this from Commissioner Pat Schramm, Deputy Pat Schramm.
You sound like an expert.
He tells me that it's cheaper to buy the per core data center licenses than to buy Windows standard server licenses for each server. We will also need client access licenses for each of these. The Windows 2019 server cost is $476.80 for every 2 core licenses. We have 84, so that equals $20,025.60. Adding on the client access licenses puts the total at $21,834.30. Now, the pricing on these government is on the government enterprise agreement that we have with Microsoft, so we can waive the bidding process on it and just get right to it. The good news is that LTAC accounts for 1/3 of our servers, and they will reimburse us. First, we'll have to pay for this, and then they will reimburse us 1/3 the cost of the purchase. We will have a motion in a few minutes to approve this purchase from you tonight. It went through trustee Chen and my committee, and we decided that after listening to the expertise from Pat, that this was something that we have to do to stay up with it.
Absolutely.
The second item that I have, I found of particular interest. We have a request for a liquor license from Stacks Cafe and Market, 909 Burlington. You'll all be happy to know, if you don't already, that we found, or Marty found a tenant for the old Salty Fig, which closed abruptly last year, unexpectedly last year around November. Mr. Dean Georgilis is an experienced restaurateur. He's seeking to purchase the Salty Fig. He would lease the premises from another entity which would own the building. Mr. Georgilis aims to open a new restaurant. He's calling it Stacks. Sometime in the fall. It's going to be for breakfast and lunch. It's going to be open 7 days a week. Because Stacks is requesting a liquor license, we will need board approval at a later date, probably the August 19th board meeting. In the meantime, this has to go before it came before us, and we are moving it forward to the liquor, it's got to go to the Liquor Commission because of the 3 licenses. They'll do a background check and things of that nature, and almost certainly send it back to us, where it'll be on the omnibus in August, I would think. The only reason it's in front of us is because they need 3 licenses. There's a Class B, a Class G, and a Class H. A Class B is full-service restaurant for people to order in. Class G is a fine wine. They can purchase it and walk out the door with it. And then Class H is for outdoor dining. If you remember, the Salty Fig had a few tables or booths or stalls outside. It's my understanding that they're going to do the same thing for this. So the licenses that they are seeking are the same licenses that we had approved to the Salty Fig. So that will be on, provided that goes to the Liquor Commission, that'll be on the omnibus in August, and I'm very happy, and I have to commend Marty for filling that up. I was concerned that we'd have a vacant storefront for a year or so, and
Right.
we'll have this very, very shortly.
Thank you. That was a very thorough report on that. And I just wanted to mention, we have a representative here, too, if anyone has any questions of him from Stacks, so.
Anyone want to
Anybody
know
have any
anything?
questions?
Yeah, from Mr. Duncan, right, Jack? Daniken. Anyone have any questions of Jack?
What kind of, any menu items that you might want to share at this point?
Give us a preview. Sneak
Well,
preview.
we're still sort of tinkering those out, but I can tell you a hash stack is basically your standard breakfast skillet,
A skillet, yeah.
high-end ramped up.
Get
A
out.
nice luxury skillet, so they're awesome. If you Google it, there's all kinds of different pictures you can have. But we have a very talented chef team, and should be pretty good.
Okay.
We're really excited.
Great.
It's intriguing. Thank you.
Hoping for the fall?
Yeah,
And Mr. George, is he a local resident?
he is. Yes.
Right, he's been here for a while, right?
Clausen.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Any other places that this item or this entree or this feature that has been served before, or is this?
To my knowledge, it's an upcoming trend, but there's no restaurants in the area that feature it that I know of.
Okay.
A lot
But
of,
it's
like,
closest.
West Coast,
Uh-huh.
New York, California.
Yeah, sounds a little
So
familiar.
we're leading edge.
Yeah, so, so
As
this,
usual.
so the best definition is this is a skillet on, that's exaggerated,
You wanted to say steroids, didn't
I
you?
like exaggerated.
enhanced,
It's the
okay.
Ferrari of skillets.
Oh, right, nice.
All right.
And what are just, I'm curious about the morning hours. Will you be trying to attract commuters too, just for coffee or
Yes,
anything?
Most definitely.
Okay.
As to my understanding, I've seen the building once, but it's right off of a train stop
Right.
there. So
It's-
we will definitely look to cater to having sandwiches to go and coffee and things of that nature.
Okay.
You're
okay.
going to
But
have an
more than likely-
espresso machine, too, right?
We definitely.
Okay, so, well, I guess then the interior of the existing space, will the front part kind of stay as it was with kind of more sort of retail?
The front will be more like a little market, kind of
Okay.
grab and go.
Okay.
We're tinkering around the idea of house-made pastries and things like that, but we'll definitely have that available.
Okay.
And it'll be more of like a quick service, fast casual in the front, and then
Okay.
more dining in the back. So if you just want to come grab something and go, have a nice quick little bite, French cafe style type
Actually, I don't know if this would be something you'd be able to answer, but I was thinking about the liquor license. What, there must be time limits as to when we can serve liquor. Is it 11 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, yeah, Marty, can you speak to that, please? Yeah.
There is limits specifically for the weekdays, but then weekends it's a little more flexible to accommodate brunch. We have that for Devonte, that's one of the only restaurants that does that. So that can start early in the morning. I can't remember the exact time, but I can make sure I can get that for you. It's early on Sundays for brunch, and we've never had any issues with
Solstice
Devonte.
has that too.
I'm
but-
sorry,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, I think as early as like 10:30 or something.
Yeah. So weekdays, it's not allowed, but, and then there's special occasions for like, for New Year's Day, or, New Year's
Oh.
Day, if it's not on a weekend, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
So we've thought that through.
Yeah. I think you were saying like Bloody Marys, mimosas.
Yeah, we're gonna, Bloody Marys, mimosas, maybe a few little select cocktails, but it'll mostly be just wine, coffee.
Okay.
Probably sell a lot more Bloody Marys and mimosas than anything.
Right.
Thank you,
It's
very,
great.
very good.
Good luck.
We are very excited.
Yes, can you tell?
Yes.
Thank you.
We want to know the menu.
That's right.
The third item I have isn't anywhere as interesting as hash stacks. In fact, Trustee Fink already alluded to the construction of well number 5. We have a technical point, a bit of housekeeping. For the new board members, well number 5, although it's on village property, we need to have an easement, which we have to we have purchased from both the Western Springs Park District and also the Western Springs School District 101. The reason why we need this temporary easement is so we can put our equipment on. In fact, it must be there already if we've already started this, to do the drilling. Earlier in this year, we entered into a contract with both the Western Springs Park District and the Western Springs School District for the temporary easement. I believe we paid them, but the temporary easement ran out on June 30th of 2019, so we just have some housekeeping to extend the temporary easement, which we have already to, I believe, the end of the year.
December 31st.
December 31st, and it's no other terms other than just the end date on it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
It's
And
purely
so-
an extension.
Well, that'll be on omnibus in 2 weeks.
And it's because of some slowness of
Oh, that's right,
funds.
from the IEPA.
Yes.
It wasn't anything about our doing.
Correct.
It was only because the funds hadn't been released from
Correct.
the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, and they're paying for a sizable portion of this.
That's correct.
So they had trouble releasing their funds, and so that's why. this was
Sizable
delayed.
enough where the work can't be done without it. yeah.
Okay. So that'll be on the omnibus in a couple of weeks. It's a technical housekeeping matter.
Thank you. Yes, and I think that staff has been in contact with the boards,
Yes,
the
we
2
have.
boards. And
Yes, we have. So, and tonight we do have some members from the Park District. They will be considering it at their next meeting. August 13th, and then the school board is considering it at the end of this month too, because of summer vacation schedules and so.
Also, we'll need the easement after those? We can,
No,
we
we
can.
need,
No.
well,
We just need them to,
Yeah, Everyone has to do it. They
Okay.
can, it doesn't have to be in any
Okay,
particular
we
order.
don't wait, okay.
yes, yes.
well, thank you. And we
Yes, we're
appreciate
very
the
thankful.
collaboration of the boards. Yeah, thank you.
I just had one question on the
Sure.
server upgrade. That was a budgeted item, and I'm assuming, and that it was within the budget?
Pat, can you answer that? Was the server budgeted, the server upgrade that we're having, were those budgeted?
It was not budgeted specifically, but it does fall within the software budget that we have for this year.
Okay, so we don't need a budgeted amendment then for that?
No, not at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Director Schramm. I would have no further, for my committee, nothing further to say.
Great, thank you, Director Terrell. Okay, is there any other business tonight? Any trustee wishes to address? No? Then we'll move on to consideration of an action on the 2 agenda items that were referenced during the reports in this special meeting portion of our combined meeting. The first one comes out of the General Government Committee, so Trustee Terrell.
As I mentioned, I will have a motion to waive the bidding procedures and authorize and approve the acquisition of a Windows Server 2019 data center licenses in an amount equal to $21,834.30 to complete a Windows Server upgrade for Munis and New World operating systems. The bid waiver is based on government pricing schedule offered by Microsoft, and Microsoft is sole source supplier and maintenance warranty provider of the licenses.
Great, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk Horvath, may we have a roll call, please?
Certainly, Madam President. Trustee Terrell.
Aye.
Trustee Sifferman.
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph.
Aye.
Trustee John.
Aye.
Trustee Fink.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
Measure passes.
Thank you. Moving on to the second item tonight that comes out of Planning and Zoning Committee, Trustee John.
Sure. Ordinance 19-2959, approving an amendment to a conditional use permit issued to Western Springs Park District for the continuation of park and recreational uses and the installation, placement, construction, operation, and maintenance of relocated tennis courts, lights, a basketball court, new walking paths, stormwater detention, and landscape improvements, and a future parking lot and related infrastructure improvements within Spring Rock Park.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve ordinance 19-2959. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion? Clerk Horvath, may we have the roll call vote again?
Yes, Madam President. Trustee John.
Aye.
Trustee Rudolph.
Aye.
Trustee Sifferman.
Aye.
Trustee Terrell.
Aye.
Trustee Chen.
Aye.
And Trustee Fink.
Aye.
And the ordinance passes.
Wonderful, thank you. Moving on to the reports, I have nothing to report. We're in the dog days of summer, so I just hope everyone had a happy and safe 4th of July. Village Manager Velkme?
Thank you, President Gallagher. It has been very quiet, except for our car burglaries, so we are really asking our residents to please be vigilant, lock your doors, and do not leave your fob in the car, so.
Right.
And that is it for tonight.
Thank you. The police chief, did you want to mention?
I did want to also mention, if you, I know that we sent the notice out and to our board, but last week, our previous Director of Law Enforcement Services, William Ripkema, passed away, and services were held on Wednesday in Southern Illinois. We did have a car that went down there with Officer Romano, and so we were represented there. So, and also Carbondale Police Department was also there too, because he served as lieutenant there for 16 years prior to that. So, and he served 20 years with us.
20 years.
So
When was Chief Rickman here?
he was,
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Sad news.
it is sad news. Yes.
Thank you. Our village attorney, Molina?
Nothing other than to say it's good to be back. Thanks for having me. Nice to see all the familiar faces and meet the new ones. So,
Well, welcome. Come back anytime.
thank you.
Okay. In that case, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
Second.
May we have a voice, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand adjourned. Thank you.